Hi, Ann Cornick from Paint and Porcelain Exchange, and today we've got a lot to cover. We're going to work on flow enamel. I know there was some concern about people having to buy new supplies that they don't have. No, you don't. I mean, you do if you don't have any enamel at all, but other than that, no, you don't. I have been experimenting ever since I announced this, so that I tried a number of different ways in a number of different mediums, and they all seem to work pretty well. So it's just kind of up to you. The blue luster on last, and I put the white enamel on first, and then I painted it, and I really don't like it. Not only that, but when I painted it, then it messed up the gold when I had to put the gold on it. I learned a lot from this one, and that's what you should do. You should experiment. So the second one that I did was the one that you see on the announcement of this, and that's this one. See there, you can tell it's raised a little. That's what you want. You want it to look a little bit like cloisonne when you're done. And see my nice gold lines on here? Now this color was also painted on. Didn't give me as much of a problem. I think the white mother of pearl too also helped a lot. But I put the mother of pearl on after I put the enamel on. So that's my second piece. That's the one that we're actually going to work on today on this little dish. It's one of those Romanian dishes. Everybody I have heard from has said, hi Jenny, don't use the German or the Japanese china, because it's too hard. And the harder the china is, the porcelain is, the more apt you are to have the enamel just flip off. So keep that in mind. So I think this is a softer one because it's like one that they do themselves. So, and you can see on there, I already put the mother of pearl on because I know what I want to put on. I want to put this design on there. And I've drawn my design on. I think it's important that you draw your designs on. Now this is a Stabilo pencil. They're real cheap. You can get them at any craft, well, I shouldn't say that. I know I can get them at Dick Blick art supply stores. You probably can get them at craft stores too. But they're a very soft lead. There's a red one like this that they say is for china painting, paper, glass, and plastic. The red one doesn't seem to work as well. The lead seems to be harder. This one is much a softer lead, and it draws much better. So keep that in mind. You should always draw your design on with this. And I'll show you why. I have also heard that it sticks best to bisque. That's the absolute best place. And since a lot of people are working on their Christmas ornaments, I did this little one up myself. Now I used two different colors because I just happened to have color enamel here to see what they looked like. And there's no difference. I used a Sultan green and a dark green. Can you tell? I can't tell. Okay, so I'm eventually going to put gold at the rim here and over the top, gold at the bottom, and I'm going to put a little gold dot on the top of each of the trees to make it look like a little star. And that's all I'm going to do with this. So there's a lot of cute little things you can do that aren't too difficult, and that's good to keep in mind. And again, if you're going to put it on bisque, except for something like that where I just, drew it on, and I drew it on using a stylus. Now, a lot of people, and myself included, don't know what styluses are, and I've got several assortments here. For some reason, I almost threw them all out because I didn't know what they were, and they came in one of the estate sales that I got, and this is kind of what they look like. Okay, so you can just get an idea. They have a point on the end. That one has like a little ball on the end there. Oh, you can see it better there. Others do too, but they're varied in size. So when I did this little bell, all I did was pick up the enamel and put it on with this, and then tease it out to make the little branches of the tree. So, that's another way. Now, I should tell everybody that I learned this technique at our last teachers meeting from Emily Wiley. And a lot of you who go to Indiana know Emily because she does the kilns for us. And it's, she made it very simple for us. And I think it's a lot simpler than a lot of us thought it was. And for me, I'm not good with making the real fine enamel. My hand's too shaky. I can't get those little dots and curves and things to look nice. But this, it comes out pretty well. I'm thrilled. Okay, now with the bisque, you're also going to be wanting to draw your design on first. It's important because otherwise you find out that you're way off kilter. And it's just better. I just use a regular graphite pencil. It fires right off. Now, for this kind of design, what I found works the best is that you hold it down like this. Look down on it like this. See there? And see the little dots I put around? I put 3 dots around to try to sort of help me space these things out. And then I'm going to do holly on this. So, and it just helps me make sure that I have my design in mind before I get started on something, because otherwise you can end up with a disaster. Okay, now this is one that I'm also going to work on today, but I wanted to show you. This is my experiment. I found out that my green luster, it's either that I fire too hot, which might be why it popped off. If anybody knows, please let me know. It wouldn't stay on. But the green enamel I have here, now this is mother of pearl under here. That's mother of pearl. Oh, there you go. If I turn it a little, you can see there, you can see mother of pearl. And then this was a green luster. I saw someone else do this, and I thought it was such a pretty way of decorating this kind of a dish. But then I did the flow enamel. And can you see if I hold it like that, it is raised. Now, this pink area in here that I did, I added the paint to a white enamel and then mixed it up, the powder paint. I took powder paint, and I'll show you all this, and it didn't bubble or anything. The green, which is an older enamel that I had like this, dark green, it did bubble, which I think probably means I could have baked it too hot. And this little yellow-brown up here that I tried to do also bubbled just a touch, but not too bad, not too bad. But this is the one I'm going to show you how to finish the piece with. At least that way you'll see everything. I used a number of different types of mediums with this. So now Emily showed me how to do this, and I just happened to have some of, this is Doris Jambora's old enamel thinner. Now, she's not around anymore. I don't think her enamel thinner is around anymore. This is what she used. She used an enamel thinner, and I have quite a bit, and I used it on my first one. She also used a pre-mixed enamel, which I don't have. I don't have pre-mixed enamel. I only have tons and tons and tons of the powder enamel, and I know you can do it with the powder enamel. So I tried it a couple of different ways. When I mix my powder enamel, I've always been told, and I even wrote it on the top of the bottle, to mix it with lavender oil. So I've always done that. She also used lavender oil to thin it a little bit. I've heard people use copaiba. This is copaiba. And I've heard them use this to mix their enamel, and then they thin it with turpentine. I've also heard people mix their enamel with turpentine only. So it's kind of up to you. For those of you that said you didn't want to go out and buy new stuff, I don't think you have to. So the look of flow enamel is basically a cloisonne look, kind of like this, okay? So that's what we're going for. Alrighty, I'm going to start taking you through the different steps involved, and I'm going to show you each one, and I'm going to give you options for each one that I have found work. When I did this piece, I only used copaiba, which may be why I got the little bubbles on the other stuff, but I didn't get it here. I didn't get any bubbles here at all. I used copaiba, and then I thinned it with turpentine. Alrighty, you're just going to mix your enamels the way you normally would mix enamels if you want, or you can mix your enamels this way to get it to flow a little better. And yeah, there are soft and hard enamels. I don't know which ones are which either. I was looking on these older ones to see if they gave us any clue. And no, they don't. Here's this is the one that I used that I didn't have any problem with that green, by the way, on any of the little Christmas trees I did on bisque. So it might be the china that I did it on. Okay, so if you want to mix a colored enamel, and what I'm going to do, since I had the best luck with just mixing paint with enamel, I'll show you that. But you can just mix these other enamels. I have lavender. I have, look at that, isn't that pretty? Lavender, yellow brown. This is Persian green. I had a turquoise, another yellow brown, dark green, and then I have a dark blue. And so I had a lot of colors to work with, and I will continue to play with those. But what I found works the best is just a plain old white enamel. So I put my white enamel down. We're going to paint that dish, so I want to have plenty of enamel to go around. And then I already picked the colors that I want to put in it. In this case, this is the dish we're painting, just so you know. I'm going to start with all the greens, and I'm going to use a moss green, okay? And I'm just adding the color, and I found you have to add a little more than you think you do to get the color the way you want it. I had two colors on here. Let me show you. In this section up here, I had white. I don't know if you can see or not. Let me come this way. I have white here. Yeah, you can kind of see it. And then I put pink here because I wanted to show the light and dark. But the pink is a little light, so I think I'm just going to add a little more color to it than I would normally have added. I've always used lavender from the get-go to mix it, but since Emily recommends the enamel thinner, if you can find it, and I looked everywhere and I didn't see it, I'm just going to take a little on my clean palette knife here and just start mixing like you would normally mix. And you can tell by the color here, I'm just going to go back now and use, oops, that's probably too much. There. Oh, that's not bad, is it? No, not bad. It's kind of, now you want it to be able to move, really move. And this isn't really moving. And I'm going to need more than that, I think, because I'm looking at the number of... As you mix it, you'll find out exactly how much you really need. But I am going to need more. Oh. Whew. Still have some. I have more white enamel other places that I can get to if I need it. So this is the enamel thinner. Try to get all the grains out. Really, really work it. Flip your palette knife. A lot of people forget about that. If you don't flip your palette knife, you're not going to get all the stuff out. Now, see, that is obviously not liquidy enough. So I'm going to put the top back on the thinning stuff. Oh, and I should put a little more in, actually. The way that Emily showed us was this should be a little bit soupy, but not overly soupy. So let's get a little more in here. Okay, mix, 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 mix. No soup at all. Okay, let's try a little more. This is the thinner again that I'm using. If you have it, great. If you don't have it, don't sweat the small stuff. We'll get you squared away. Not dripping yet. Okay, now I'm going to go anyway to the lavender because I think we could be here all day and the lavender will definitely do the job. I use either kind of lavender. It doesn't matter to me. And I don't think it has anything to do with the kind of lavender you use for this, because I've used both and I've never had a problem. So, but like I said, I'm not one of those people that's like an expert on this. I'm just sharing with you what I've learned. Now, see, this is drippy. Come here, you. See how drippy this is? Well, it's not as drippy as it should be, but it's pretty drippy. See that? That's what you want. You want it a little drippy, and that's not the case with regular enamel. With regular enamel, you thin it with turp, and you go like this, and you keep checking it to see if there's what they call like a strand on it, and that's when that little pile down there attaches to this up here, but this won't. This is going to be drippy. It could use just a tad more. I don't want to put too much in. Okay, there's just a little more. Oh, okay. Good, good, good. Okay. So now you should probably wipe this or pull this into a little pile. It just helps when you're using a toothpick or a stylus to move it around. So I'm going to move this over here. I'm going to bring my plate in view. I want to use my turntable, and I'll tell you why I'm using my turntable for this. I draw lines and things better sometimes from one direction than the other. And I don't want to be in a situation where I'm kind of ruining what I'm doing because I'm not doing it from the right side. So I use my turntable. Oops, okay, we got it on there. Alrighty, so I'm going to take a toothpick in this case. Here's the toothpicks. Doesn't matter which kind you have. Okay, and I'm going to just pick it up like this. Okay, and then I'm going to put it where I want it. So here, I want it right here. I'm going to pick up a little more because that really wasn't what I wanted. I wanted a little more. Oops, that's maybe too much. Let me go to a different one. Here, this is better. And then I'm going to start teasing it to the side, but you want to keep the volume on it. You want to keep it puffy, if you know what I mean. Okay, I'm going to do it the same way here. I'm going to do a little more, tease it a little more this way, tease it a little more this way. That's why you draw on here, so that you can see exactly what you're doing and how it's going to look. The thing I like about this is if you have a shaky hand, it doesn't matter. You're teasing this stuff anyway. So see what I'm doing so far now? Mine are a little lumpy. I want them to be smooth. Some people, in order to get them really, really smooth, will use a brush. Make sure that because it's supposed to be self-leveling. But if it's not, and you want it a little nicer, try putting it on with a brush. And I think you will see, here, let me try this next one with the brush. Okay, they're up here. Let me try this. I think a brush does work a little better. But remember, you want a pillowy effect. That's why I want to be able to turn this around and pull it back this way. And then just kind of wipe over it a little bit just to make sure. Now see, I have a little spot there. I don't want that to be like that. I have a little one here. I'm going to pull that down. It's a little picky. Now, I don't think these are bubbles, but I don't know what they are, so I'm pulling them out. Okay, because I mixed it really well, so it shouldn't be the mixture. Okay, here we go. I do it here. You notice I turned this leaf a little bit. The reason I did that is to turn it back into the design so that it draws your eye back into the design if you're looking at the plate. I'm trying very hard not to make you have to buy a lot of stuff. If I can find another way to do something that works just as well, I will let you know, because it's important. It really is. That this not be the most expensive thing you've ever done in your life. But it can be. So think about it. Like if everybody says you need a certain color, find out what the color looks like. I need a little more poof over here. And then decide if you can mix it up yourself or if you really have to go out and buy it. Now, these little veins here that I have, let me go back to my toothpick, see if that's any better. It might be that this is getting a little thick too. Yeah, but the toothpick works better. And just pull it along. I made this a little harder for myself because I made a lot of these. You just want it puffy. It's your preference, but you want it to be raised compared to what you're painting on. The only other thing is you don't want to have much like grain in it. You don't want to have a grainy or a streaky appearance on it. So if you can avoid that, that's great. But it's personal preference. So it's puffy if you say it's puffy. You're the judge. And then you can take a toothpick after this dries and go through and narrow some of these lines if you think they're too thick or what have you. And that's another nice thing about this. You should let it dry before you fire it, is what I've heard. And that's what I've always done the last 2 weeks that I've known how to do it. So I would say make sure you let it dry before you fire it. And then before you put it in the kiln, look at these, especially things like I'm doing right now, which are the veins, and make sure, or the stems, and make sure that they're the way you want them to be. I've got too much on here, and it's only picking up at the back. So I got to, you might have to wipe off your tooth pick and go back. Sometimes it gets so much on there that it won't pick it up where you need it, which is the tip. So wipe it off. Oh, come on. I only have a little more to do there. Okay. Okay. Now, the only other place that I would like to see a little more is here, because back here where I made it a little too wide with the brush, and I just scooped that into a pile again, it didn't raise. So I'm going back and making it a little more raised because I want it more raised there. And it's too wide, so I'll wipe it off, or I'll use a toothpick to cut it off, you know, get rid of it before I put it in the kiln. Okay, ta-da. All right, now let's go to the next one. So the next color I'm going to do with you, see, that's all I had left. That's not much. Oh, I find turpentine works the best to wipe everything off. It gives you the cleanest surface to work with. Okay, this is my white enamel again. I'm just going to put it on here. And I'm going to do the petals. This is the pink. It's the same pink I used on that other thing I did. So I want to add a little more this time. There we go. That should be better. I think I need to put a little more enamel in it. There. Okay. All right. How do I know that? I just think I did. I probably had too much of the paint. I don't want it to chip off, so that's why I'm doing that. Now, you see how soupy it is? This stuff will actually dry pretty quickly. So right now it's pretty soupy. I don't know that it needs any turpentine, but I can put turpentine in. You know, just a itty bitty drop like that, and then just mix it. But it's really soupy then. Now, if it's too soupy, you can sit and wait. Just let it take its time. And when it gets to the point that you think you can use it, I'm just going to put some up here. That almost finished off my vial. And I'm just going to put a little baby blue. I mean, just a little. Here we go. The baby blue is pretty strong. I think it'll be okay, yeah. No, probably could use just a little more. Remember, you want it to be predominantly enamel. Let me show you how you do a holly leaf. Is this a little thicker? It might be. I don't know. We'll see. Blue's pretty good. Okay, for a holly leaf, get a new thing here. It's better to have something like this. Put it on a stylus or a toothpick, because you're going to get a decent dot there to put in the middle like that. And then you're going to tease it out this way, this way, this way, and this way, and this way, and get a little more point on it here, maybe a little more here. But that's how you make a holly leaf. This is still a little too thin. Maybe I need to let that set. Let me find my toothpicks again. Let's do the pink. Pink should be easy. Yeah. If it sits for a while, it will get very thick, and then you can just put it on. So here, putting it on, and I'm teasing it back. So that's basically all there is to it. You put it on, and you tease it back. Let's talk about how you finish it off, okay? So for this, I'm going to take my gold, my Dresden. I have a bottle of liquid bright. It's a Dresden. I'm just going to pour a little here. Come on. It's going to need a little thinning. This has been sitting for a while. Come on, baby. You can do it. Won't need more than that. I already have lavender oil in here, which is what I add to my to this to make it zoopy. So I'm probably okay with it. Let me just use my pen to sort of mix it around a little bit. Yeah, there we go. I'd probably do it with a brush, but I don't want to get a brush any dirtier than I have to. You're going to use a pen, and you're just going to, no, you have to test it. So always dot it off. And then, oh, of course, you're not going to work for me today, huh? I don't have it back. That might not be thin enough. Let me try this now. Almost. We're getting there. When it comes off the end of the brush, you know you're okay. Let me see if we're getting it now. There's a little. Good. And you're just going to trace around the outside. Now here I had a turnover. You want it to be as smooth as you can get it. And that's why I think it's better to do it after you've done the enamel. I think it's much better to wait. And you're just going to go around it. And you can add some flourishes like I did just then, if you want. It's entirely up to you. And you're going to fire it one last time. Now, when I talked to Emily, I said, well, aren't you firing it an awful lot? And she said, yes. She's been able to fire 2, sometimes 3 times. And I'm hoping none of this is going to... There we go. And I'll do it here. And that's it. That's what you do to finish it off, and then you fire it. And when you fire, this will all be bright like this. Where is it here? And it'll really show off. So if you want to put these little lines and things there, you might want to start out with a piece that you don't care about. One that, you know, you're just experimenting with. But, so that's what I ended up with. Luster, slaking. Okie doke. Pick up your brushes, keep painting. See you next time. Bye-bye. Program. And I hope you'll take a minute to subscribe so that other people can learn more about China painting and we can get the word out to more people. You also can look at the links below. My Paintnporcelain.com website has a lot of freebies and printables for new and experienced painters, as well as studies, supplies, and even some of my hand-painted china. So thank you again, and I'll see you next time.